Hey guys, Zach here with Minimalist Scapes, and today I want to take you guys with me and show you how I redid my bowl aquarium ecosystem. So, let's get into it. So, the first thing I want to do is just get this all cleaned out. You can see the plants are still good. I've got lots of shrimp in here, so I'll scoop them all out once I get all the plants out and the hardscape out, and I'll just put them in the bucket behind me, and they're going to do absolutely fine. But let's get it clean. Now with it all clean, I can put the substrate system in, and then I can get on to the hardscape. So for my nutrient layer, for my substrate, I'm just going to keep the same nutrient bag that I had in there before, and all I'm going to do is just add in a couple of small root tabs to the foreground to like sort of rejuice it. So this is just the crushed up root tabs that's going in. I just throw it in a Ziploc and then crush it up. And that way, I've got lots of the powder and I can just spread it around instead of having it focused and concentrated into one area. I believe these are, I want to say these are the fluorite root tabs. I'm not 100% sure. I've just got them in this Ziploc bag right here. Here they are in case you want to see them. But with that in, I can get the actual substrate in, which is just going to be the sand again. Now with all the old substrate in, what I'm actually going to do is just cap it off with a fresh layer of sand. So I've just got my sand right here, and this fresh sand, it's going to be a little bit lighter. I don't know if it's the exact same kind of sand here. I'll show you. Like you can see, it's significantly lighter. This is just going to trap everything down in the sand that's already been there. And the other reason is that there's some duckweed mixed into the sand and I don't want it coming up. So I'm just going to throw a completely fresh layer of sand on top and to trap everything in. So let me get that in. So now with the sand in, what I want to do quickly is just rehydrate it so that any of the beneficial bacteria down here in these lower layers from the old substrate that was in here doesn't die. And it'll keep it alive, and that way I can take my time with the planting and the hardscape. So I'm just going to put like a small amount of water in the bottom. Not enough to come up to the surface, just a very small amount in the bottom. Now, as you can see, there's some water down here that's kind of pooled. It hasn't fully gone in yet, but that's not a big deal. It's just so that I have the time, so I can take my time with the hardscape. Speaking of which, for this tank, the reason why I wanted to redo it is because I wanted to go with a much simpler hardscape than what I had before. And the other reason is that the duckweed really took over, which made it very hard to see into the tank and really feel the tank, and I couldn't really monitor shrimp too well. So now, what I'm going to do is, one, keep out all the duckweed, that's why I put this capped layer in, but two, I also want to make sure that the hardscape is a little bit more simple so that I can really get it into the tank if I need to. And so that it also stays a little bit clearer, so no driftwood or anything. So I'm going to go with an Iwagumi style tank with this jade rock right here. So it's going to be kind of a centerized piece, and then I want sort of like an offshoot coming up sort of like here and maybe here. But I'm going to fool around for a good little while and get a scape that I'm happy with that's also going to be functional for the shrimp that are going to go back in here. So this is the hardscape that I landed on. I really like it. It doesn't have 3, it only has 2 stones, so it's sort of an Iwagumi style, but generally they consist of an odd number of stones. But I really like how it's a nice centralized scape, but there's tons of nooks and crannies in all the rock, and it also doesn't take up as much room as the other scapes that I've had in here, so I can get like all the way around this really no problem. And it's quite simple, but it's really going to be functional for the shrimp, right? And it's also going to keep it very open, and I'm going to be able to interact with the tank or observe the tank, trim the tank, do all sorts of maintenance without really having any problems. So with this in, I can move on to planting.